I'm about to take y'all money, fellas.
Man, how you gonna try to take people money? You ain't got no money.
Yeah, you got it.
Fam, the only way you gonna take my money is if you got a gun on you, you heard?
Everybody a thug. Yo, listen. I told you I saw Sheena the other day.
Where's Sheena?
Sheena.
Lightskin Sheena?
Yeah.
Redbone Sheena.
Looking like a snack.
Son, she's a baddie.
Yeah.
You got the number or something?
Nah, you know I started talking to Keisha a few weeks ago. I ain't doing that.
Wait, what Keisha?
Wait, Keisha, chocolate Keisha?
Yeah, dark-skinned Keisha.
I mean, she cute for a chocolate girl, but you didn't get Sheena number?
Whoa! Oh. Welcome to the Grown Man Thoughts Network. My name is For Real. And today, I got a guest with me, Mr. Ryan Hodge from the Deception series. Very educated young man, is an author. How you doing today?
Doing pretty good, man. What's up, everybody out there? Thanks for having me.
Yes, let people know where they can get your books at.
Hey, man, I got a whole bunch of books. I got 8 books, novels. You can go to ryanhodgebooks.com. A lot of different flavors. Might find something you like. You're gonna find something you like, so hit the website, ryanhodgebooks.com.
And we got the always colorful host, Mr. Ajax. How
What
you
up, what
doing?
up? Saga pet no la.
Sock passe, marboule.
Sac passe.
So today, we got a good subject. Light skin versus dark skin. And the reason I'm going there with it, I feel it is a subject that we don't touch that much. It's taboo in the community, but I think it's something that elevates us. You know, Grown Man Thoughts is about elevating, getting better.
Right.
And I think as a community, we need to fix this because we discriminate against ourselves. And it's something I really want to talk about. I want to know, is it real or is it just something that's on memes that we making up? So, you know, I'm going to just jump into it. Real talk, real people. What you feel about it? This light skin versus dark skin thing. You think it's real or you think it's a problem or you think it's just joke for memes?
It's fucking real as a fucking heart attack.
Sound like you got real strong thoughts about that. Why you say that?
It's out there. Let me tell you something. Every single day we're being discriminated against, right? Not only against our position, which we already know what that is, but then amongst ourselves in the community, right? I can't have something without you not back talking me like, yo, this nigga got this shit, right? Oh, you know what I'm saying? So, it's out there. It's
How
out
about
there.
yourself? How you feel? Is it a real issue, a real topic,
Oh,
or is it
yeah.
something for jokes?
We definitely discriminate against one another, but mainly with the light skin versus dark skin thing, I can take it back to like grammar school. Everybody's heard the old joke, African booty scratcher.
Right.
You've never heard that term used against someone who was of a fairer skin. So
Right.
that's the discrimination right there. Now, and the light skinned girls, the more fair girls, they just got treated better. I mean, it just was across the board. So I definitely think it's a real thing, and we need to. This is a good topic to explore.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely think it's an issue because, like you said, we discriminate against as a culture in general, as a community. But within that, we're discriminating against ourselves. And I think that's a problem. And one of the biggest things I feel is the reason why we are not where we need to be is that structure, that power between man and woman, the family structure. And you know, I think that's something that needs to be addressed because you know, we got so many stereotypes.
Right.
I'm gonna just be real with you. One thing I hate, when I'm out doing something, you know, I'm a funny dude. I like to play, you know, oh, that was a light skin move. First of all, I don't even consider myself light skinned. I prefer caramel.
Right.
I prefer
Caramel?
brown skin.
Yeah, you would consider
Right.
yourself caramel.
Now,
But you know,
when you say prefer, see that's it right there. That's exactly what we're talking about right there. I prefer. You don't prefer dark skin.
no, I don't. And I'm gonna be real with you. That's probably that condition, that brain
Right.
rot. And Grown Man Thoughts is about getting better. First thing, we gotta recognize what the problem is, recognize
Right.
the issue is.
Right.
Second thing, we gotta address how it affects us in the community. Third thing, we gotta figure out how to heal. And I think this is a subject that is keeping us apart.
Right.
Because I look at it this way. I hate when I hear that was a light skin move. I also hate, y'all saw in the skit when we started earlier, I hate when somebody determines somebody's beauty by whether the female is light skin or the female is dark skin.
Right.
Beautiful is beautiful and we are all black.
Right. True.
You can't change that.
Right.
Matter of fact, before we go on, you know how we do. Grown Man Thought, you cannot be nothing without a grown woman. So
I
I brought
agree.
a friend today. Shout out to Zoe. She's not here today.
What up, Zoe?
Our grown woman.
Zoe,
but
what's good?
you can't be a grown man without a grown woman's opinion. So I brought a guest today. Matter of fact, where was she? Katrina. Come here. You. Yeah, that's you. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Katrina Darkskin, introduce yourself. What you want to say to the world?
I'm Katrina Darkskin.
Okay.
So the question is, how do you feel about this whole, dark skin, light skin situation that's happening, discrimination is happening in the community with not only within us, but also the outside world?
I think it's a very real situation, especially in the Caribbean community. Growing
What's
up.
your background? Before you go, you say career. What's your background?
I'm Jamaican.
Brad John.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Jamaican. Growing up, most of my cousins, most of my family is light skin. Me and my brother are only dark skin. I wouldn't say the only, but I grew up around all my cousins who were light skin.
Okay.
And it was hard. Even when kids get in trouble and stuff like that, me and my brother were always looked at like we were the problem. We were always the issue. Even in school, people would be like, oh, why you can't be like your cousin? Stuff like that.
Whoa. What you mean? Why you can't be like your cousin? Like how? Like you were bad and your cousin
Is
was
that
good?
academically, behavior-wise?
No, my cousin was
Complexion.
bad as far as complexion. Like my cousin was very light, and she was very tall, and she was like a model look. I was more of like the athlete. And she was like, oh, and people be like, Dad, why you can't be fair like your cousin? And, stuff like that. So it definitely, played a part in me growing up.
This whole thing, you said you're Jamaican, right? So we got this whole thing with the bleaching thing that's happening, right? Jamaicans, Africans, and stuff. How do you feel about that?
I feel it's very real. I have cousins. I have a cousin that she actually moved to England, but she was dark. Actually, she was a little bit darker than me, but very beautiful. And I always thought she was beautiful. And me and her, but she's light. She's lighter than anyone on this set right now. She's so light. She's bleaching, and it's a very real situation. I know a few friends who actually bleach too. And it actually causes skin cancer.
Cancer, right.
Yeah, as you get older, there's a lot of women. It doesn't bleach your knuckles. It's it's bad.
So I got a question for you because how you think that's affecting your self-esteem?
Growing up?
Yeah.
Oh,
because of your complexion. Or even has it, or do you not care? Has it affected your self-esteem?
It definitely affected my self-esteem growing up. I felt like I was never inadequate. I was never good enough, especially when it came to men. Like my cousin used to tell me, oh, you would never, they would always just use you for your body and stuff like that. And she was just like always, I started dating very late in life because of that, and it was just because I always felt like they would never pick me first, only because of the people I surrounded myself with.
So, real quick, for you, I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you feel light-skinned women get treated differently, or do you treat light-skinned women differently based on their complexion? Be honest.
You want it first?
Go ahead.
All right, so in my experience, I'll even use down south. I live down south. I live in South Carolina now, right? So just to answer your question clearly, yes, I do think light-skinned women get treated better. So bang, and the reason I'm supported with this. So I see dark-skinned women versus light-skinned women. You have a light-skinned woman walking through a door, and you'll have dudes breaking their necks to get that door open for them, right? And then I've seen it where the dark-skinned sister, she's not really sought after, and a joker will let her walk through the door, or if she's lifting a box, they'll let her take the groceries, throw them in the trunk. But that light-skinned one, they're going after her to help her with those groceries because they want to put themselves in a better favor to be able to get in her best favor that, of course, made her or marry her or whatever it may be. So yeah, I've seen it over and over again. And it's a running joke down south, especially. If there's a light-skinned woman who is not married by a certain age, they automatically say she's crazy because light-skinned women get taken off the market immediately, as if they're some type of pristine
Commodity.
Right. So yeah, I absolutely get treated better.
All right, so
From what I've seen.
that bothers me, yo, because any form of discrimination is bullshit.
Right,
Of course,
absolutely.
absolutely.
I don't care. I don't see color. I don't even care what color you are. You either real or not real. You either honest or not honest. You either for me or against me. I don't even see color. But how we fix this? Like, what other ways does this show up in the community besides black and white? Because I'm gonna tell you one. I'm not black and white besides light and dark. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing that bothered me recently. R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle. During his proceedings at the Staples Center, YG, and I was looking at this, got a lot of backlash. And I'm not saying he's bad for what he said, but I just want to give you his viewpoint. He said him and Nipsey Hussle used to talk a lot about other things other than rap, other than gang stuff. And he was like, we got some light-skinned, pretty babies we got to raise. We in trouble. That was so deep and profound to me, because if your babies wasn't light-skinned, would you consider yourself in trouble? Why did you have and feel the need to say that because we have light-skinned babies, we are in trouble?
I can't say I know exactly what this stemmed from, but you also have to understand something. Nipsey was light-skinned.
Right.
YG is dark-skinned, right? So
Fair. I'm gonna say he's dark-skinned, but fair.
Well,
in
he's-
this world,
he's
they
not
wouldn't consider him
light-skinned.
fair.
He's not light-skinned.
He's not light-skinned. They wouldn't consider him fair
Right.
in any shape or form.
No doubt.
Right? So let's just say if he does have kids, I don't know if they're all light skinned. You have to understand something. The same discrimination that they're going with or going against, right? It's the same issue that their kids are gonna have to go against, because obviously they're growing up in the black community, right?
But we are the black community.
But can I say
We are the black community, but we have there's discrimination amongst ourselves, which is more fucked up than the discrimination that we're going with against.
Other races.
Right,
We'll
other
go
races.
Okay.
So it's a bigger issue. Now, like I said, I don't know what he meant by what he said, but I understand that having children that are light skinned at this point are in a balance of either you're this or you're that. Pick a side.
I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna throw something out there. Let's just be real. Real talk for real people, right? Let's put out the stereotypes. Light-skinned men. Soft.
They soft.
Sweet.
Pretty boys.
Pretty.
Don't want to get
players.
Good hair. Players. Make good babies.
Right.
Light-skinned women. Better hair. Prettier.
Smarter.
Sought after. Smarter. And listen, we're gonna get to it. We have some stats and facts of some research that was done.
Right.
Dark-skinned women. Dark-skinned men. For the men's side, you're more aggressive. You're more animalistic.
You're stronger.
I saw
Definitely more of a threat.
You're stronger. You're more of a threat. Like that whole I seen it, because you dark skin, you get called the gorilla. You get called the monkey.
Right.
We're not even gonna talk about what Gucci did with they thing. We won't even go there, but we're talking about how they are perceived in mainstream America. Dark skinned women, you're lesser value than a light skinned woman.
Right.
That is the stereotype. That is the problem. Where did that come from? Because
Don't get me
if we're
wrong,
fighting
though.
against the world, how can we? If most black people, we are upset that we are discriminated against, whether it's corporate America, jobs,
But
the
we're still
police.
doing it to ourselves.
But within the black community, based on your shade, your value is determined. Where did that come from? Talk to me.
This is fucking systemic.
I mean, if I had to roll the dice, right?
Yeah.
So I'ma just go with division. It's a thing about division on any level. So anybody or any team that's separate, there's always gonna be a we're better than you mindset. I'll give you an example.
Economically.
Right.
Or, yeah.
Yo, if I live, let's say 10 of us live 20 blocks down, and that's our neighborhood. And then we do things a certain way in that neighborhood. And then 10 blocks over, it's 10 more people, they do their thing that way. Yo, we're gonna say, yo, we move better than them. So I think division is always gonna be something from separate groups, right?
Okay.
So differences bring upon these sort of things. But I'm gonna run it back to slavery, man. I'm gonna just run it back there though.
That's really the right place to start.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just run it back there. So bang, if you're talking about the the light-skinned girl, most cases had some type of white ancestry, and they move her to the house because she's closer to being white, which was the standard of beauty that the white man created in this country when everybody was kidnapped and brought here. So now you have a system of, they define what's beautiful, straight hair, all that good stuff. And that big black dude is back in the field putting those rocks and tilling the dirt or whatever they call it. So now,
field dude.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna say the field dude.
Can I say something?
Yeah, run it. Yep.
When you bring it back to slavery, the dark-skinned women was only brought into the house as she was a sex commodity to the white man to produce the babies. Right. So when the babies were produced, they became the house people.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so it wasn't like it was always like there was always a purpose behind the
right, but it was no value to her other than
then she was to make the babies.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
She was to make the babies. They always found the strongest black woman, and it was the strongest, the darkest black women that can make the strongest babies.
Right.
So they can have so they can have, and it goes to right now. I'm gonna let you know, back to your point that you said before. A black man will marry a dark-skinned woman, but he will go outside and look for a light-skinned woman. Does that make sense? He will, because of dark-skinned women.
He'll cheat, or
yeah,
he's looking
he might not be attracted to the wife that he has, but he will have a dark-skinned wife to hold it down, because a dark-skinned women are considered to be a little bit more naive, a little bit more dense, a little bit, but they can take care of a house. Right. You know what I'm trying to say?
I hear you.
So it wasn't like, but I understand, right? It's not facts. We're not talking facts, but we're talking, it is a perception.
But you have to understand,
it's a perception. I have a brother, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you have to understand something. There's this thing, it's a complex of inferiority, right? It's something that's been passed over to you. All right, for you not to believe in your own skin tone and believing that the darker you are, the less lucky you are, or the less attractive you are. You know, it's something that's passed on. And believe it or not, it happens with parents, with siblings, and it just keeps on passing down. Like, I got a friend of mine. He's dark-skinned, successful. Yeah. Runs a barbershop and all of that, right? Mm-hmm. His little brother is light-skinned. For some reason, his brother was more brought up to believe that he was better than everybody else. Although he ain't doing shit but just, going around slinging dick.
And that's what happened with Kodak Black and YG that you're talking about. Because when you grow up thinking that you are down, you're not gonna want to have kids to make yourself. It's self-help. It's self-hate. Okay, look. It's self-hate.
What is it?
It's self-hate. So if you
message
right, if you like, if you don't like yourself, right? I have a brother. We, like I said, we both grew up in a Caribbean background, and if you don't like. They have Cartel. I don't know if you know who Cartel is, but he made a song called Vibes Cartel. Like Cake Soap is like the #1. He even came out with his own brand of a bleaching soap. So it's like this. If you don't love yourself, you could fix that. And a lot of Jamaicans, they come into the party, they're like, yeah, they celebrate the fact that they bleached. And my brother has this theory. My father is black. He's the blackest one out of all his brothers and sisters. My mother is the blackest one out of all her brothers and sisters. It's 12 of them, and she's the blackest one. We're the darkest out of all my family. And my mother and my brother has this theory, like, he's weak to light-skinned women. It doesn't matter if she's ugly. If she come in a room, oh my God, like he go crazy. Like it's something that turns him on. Yeah, he doesn't. But I'm gonna tell you this.
It's a challenge of trying to
go
achieve.
Before we get too far.
But his mother, the woman who took care of him, is a black lady. And me and my brother had a conversation. And he told me he would marry a dark-skinned woman. He really would marry a dark-skinned woman. But he will always gravitate towards he has a deep fascination and a deep love
it's almost
for
becoming a challenge to acquire something, and because it's almost above you, right? That's crazy.
Because you're light skinned?
But Pete,
That's crazy.
Go ahead.
The
Go ahead,
craziest
'cause I'm
thing
about to
about
snap.
what you just said is that I've seen that 1,000 times where the woman has been light skinned.
Yeah.
But let's say her facial configuration is not one that you would normally attribute to beauty.
To African beauty, right?
Right.
That was a well way to put that.
And
Since
yeah, that
you're
was
ugly.
politically correct. Without my man, you heard?
That was a good way to put it, yo.
So bang though, but dudes are still running after. But I hate to say it that way, but her facial configuration is one that should be like, that's not really what it do. But jokers are running after because they're caught up in the fact that she's light skinned. It's the craziest thing. But
Trust me, I've seen a lot of ugly light skinned chicks. Like
There's ugly
But
people.
then they say,
There's ugly color on it. You either
But-
ugly or you're not ugly. It shouldn't be a color.
And to me, like it's fucking crazy because look, me, I love all shades, whether it's white, black, Indian, whatever. Like I was telling you before, right?
So you
I grew up in Queens, right? First aspect I had of the woman was my mother, who was a dark-skinned woman, beautiful woman. Next aspect I had was there was a lot of Indian women in the neighborhood. I found those beautiful.
Dark or light.
Huh?
Because they have that issue in the
No,
Indian
it varied.
Okay.
That's the thing. It was a whole
Okay.
Indian community, and to me, they all looked great. Then all of a sudden, it wasn't just Indian people. There was white folks in the area, and I found some of them to look good.
yeah.
So that opened my eyes to just not. It's not just where you come from or your environment. It's all about how you think about it too.
But that's why you're open-minded. My thing is we gotta get better, which means we gotta heal. So we gotta recognize the problem. Before
We got a
get
lot of
too
healing
far
to do.
from it.
Oh yeah.
I did some research on this one. It opened my mind even farther to things that I do. So I wanna read. I'm not even gonna read it. I'm gonna paraphrase it. The most popular ways of teaching divisive behaviors were created by Willie Lynch. You know, y'all know who Willie Lynch was?
Of course, it's
He was a British slave owner that came to America to teach Americans how to keep their slaves.
How they
in
Negroes.
order. Because I want to understand, before we get better, we got to understand where the fuck this shit came from. He told them, this is what you do.
Another tie to slavery.
Right, and one thing is so painful and I hate this. Move on, forget about it. You can't heal until you recognize what the problem is.
Right.
Even in the drug program, the first step in recovery is recognize you have a problem.
Right.
Yo, you can do whatever you want. Go ahead. Ladies first. What you gotta say?
When it comes to Willie Lynch, I'm very familiar with what you talked about. Willie Lynch, all those experiences were derived from the Caribbean.
The triangle slave trade. That's what it
Right,
started.
so in the Caribbean, in slavery, they had this thing called breaking. It's like when you break a horse.
Buck break. Right.
Yeah, you ever, I don't know if you ever grew up on a farm, but if you break a horse or a goat, it's like you have to you have to instill fear into them. That's why Caribbean people are the most broken people ever. That's why it's really, I won't say the most broken, but you know what I'm trying to say. But I'm gonna let you know that when it came to Willie Lynch, it all started in it all started in the Caribbean. And what happened in the Caribbean is that they used to break the slaves.
Right.
So what they used to do is they used to pin the slaves together. So all his whole book was all his experiences of everything that he did in the Caribbean. You know, to the slaves.
Okay.
And that whole light skin, dark skin thing came from when they introduced the whole Christianity thing.
Right.
Because they introduced the whole Christianity thing as a white God. So when
That's
you're
also
a
big
white
problem.
God, the most holiest thing you can do
power.
is be closer
to
to
God.
that
Right.
skin
Absolutely.
complexion.
And
So
being the fact that Jesus, or they represent Jesus as this white dude, so all of a sudden that anybody white is closer to him
It's closer to
than it is to you. So therefore you gotta respect that.
So we established where it came from. Let's establish how that is presenting itself in this community, because we got to recognize. We established with male and female in the relationship piece.
Right.
Us as males, we put more value on light-skinned females and dark-skinned. And I'm not saying us three, but I'm saying in general, right? Where else does this exhibit itself? Because for me, you have to see what you're doing wrong to correct that. So how does it exhibit itself in corporate America? How does it exhibit itself in relationships? You're a college professor.
That's the thing. Hold up. That's the thing that still trickles down. It's not just that we're doing it. It's because it keeps trickling down. It's coming down from the corporate America and coming down to the basic things and then coming down to us.
So we have to recognize it. So I'm trying to point
Yeah,
to
That's the thing, though. We can't recognize it because it's always being flashed in our face on TV, on everything else.
Right.
You're right, but I'm gonna tell you something. Ownership. The first step to recovery, I said this earlier, is recognizing you have a problem. I don't care what the fuck the problem is. Once you recognize you have it, you have to fix it. If I recognize that I am showing favoritism to a certain person as opposed to a different group of people, I need to fix that.
But you might be set in your ways that even if somebody tells you, it's not going to
But
make
you
a
have to
difference.
be
You got some excuse.
Can
You
I
gotta
say
grow. That's
something?
fine. Yeah, go.
Okay, so I gave you the example of me and my brother.
Yeah.
I also told you that my mother and my father were the darkest one in their
good.
family. So when I saw my mother as a dark-skinned, strong woman
Yes.
be inferior to her own brothers and sisters because they were lighter than her, of course, me as a little girl and me growing up, like, you mimic your environment.
That behavior.
You understand what I'm saying? And my brother, growing up as a dark-skinned male, seeing his father treat his brothers and sisters, or his brothers and sisters treat him like he was some type of way. He's obviously
Lesser,
gonna
okay.
grow up, of course,
that
lesser.
same-
Okay.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, because like we're talking back in like the 70s. Like this is way, you know, this
deep.
goes,
This
it's
is since the
deep. It's
beginning of
really
America.
deep.
Like,
So it sounds like, in some regard, our parents are passing this notion
Exactly.
down.
That's what
as
I
well.
just said.
I got you.
It's definitely,
and it
and-
still goes back
and-
to slavery because that's where it started. She's the fair skin, the white guy. Since they run everything, this is their spot. They can determine to some degree what we feel is beautiful because they own the TVs, the radio waves, so
That's
they
what I
can
just
keep
said.
running that
They just
message
keep pumping
over
it.
and over again. And guess what? And then we buy in because our parents bought in, their parents bought in. Oh, she's light skinned. She's in the house. Just off of she's a house worker as opposed to the field worker.
Thank you.
She's in a better position and he's in a better position. Chances are, since the field dude is outside doing grunt work, the fairer skinned, light skinned lady is inside the house and she may be serving people in the house. So guess what? You need to teach her etiquette.
Right.
Because she's serving your guests.
So she automatically becomes a little bit more valuable. than-
Absolutely. So
Because you're
she's more
exposed to
educated.
different-
Right.
We're already saying she's more beautiful because she's closer to the white man, which is closer to God as they put in front of him. And then all of that stuff trickles down. So now the slaves outside are saying, oh, she knows English. So she's already smarter. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm just tying that into we got this conception
She can
now
read.
that light-skinned girls are smarter. So bang, in corporate America, they want the light-skinned black girl in there who looks better, and all the white guys go, ooh, she's beautiful. They want her in there and to go do sales because she can recruit better, which is no different than 400 years ago, 1865, back then when that fair-skinned black sister was in the building doing the work, and all of the white guys were in there like, yeah, she's...
I'm gonna tell you something else.
What
I'm
you
gonna
got?
tell you something else. The worst part that affects is that you're not even mentioning, which is the fucking church.
in the media.
Well, before we go into the media, the church alone, because a lot of us go to church, right? We're praying for a better tomorrow and protection for our kids and, you know, blah, blah, blah. When we walk in the church, what's the first thing we see?
Something about some bread.
No, we see white Jesus.
Oh, okay, yeah, definitely.
You see the white Jesus. So it's a constant reminder,
Yeah.
like, yo,
Whitey is all powerful.
right. So
It's
you
exactly
may not even
that.
think about it, but that picture's in
Subliminal,
the
it's
background.
subliminal.
The picture's in the background, like the white Jesus staring at you, like, oh shit, you're praying to this white Jesus, forgetting that although you read the Bible all day long, knowing that this man was not white at all,
and from Europe.
but yet that picture,
The picture is
you're
everything.
not praying to the dude in the Bible, you're praying to the dude in the picture.
The picture is everything. The
So
television,
that right there-
propaganda.
We have to recognize the problem, because the reason people win is they control the narrative of the story. We believe we're a visual society. 90% of what we intake is visual. we don't read as much as we used to. So we have to recognize the problem and change it because it happens in several different areas. You put me on this, like I was about to say. Your college professor, right? Explain to them what the brown paper bag.
Oh, wow.
This
So
shit
bang.
fucked me
So
up.
again, we gonna run it back. So this is about more division within our own people. So, you know, you got fraternities and sororities, right? Dating back early 1900s, right? So, and I'm not gonna use any particular sorority
You don't call
fraternity
no
name.
names out. We don't
So I'm
want
not
to
even
laugh.
trying to
We
do it
ain't
like
trying
that.
to get sued.
But there's research and history and stories on certain sororities that back in these early 1900s when they first started, you know, forming these sororities, that they would only take fairer skinned women, light skinned women. And they call what he was referencing was the brown paper bag test. If a female was trying to join a certain sorority,
She had to match up.
she had to be at least the color of a brown paper
Or
bag
lighter.
or lighter. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be considered
Right.
for the sorority. And that's even if academically you were superior, whatever standards there were, if that was just the measuring stick right there. If you didn't meet that, just go to somebody else. And and again, if you can actually look it up and you'll see what sororities, whatever is you know, alleged to have done those sort of things. But it's a lot of research on it where people said it was a real thing. All off the color of your skin. So what is it stemming from? Now we're going back to early 1900s, which is only 35.
You're talking about 1928. This article.
Yeah, but the
one I'm-
1920s, that's what, maybe 200 years after
Not even
slavery?
remember,
but I'm
slavery
not-
was abolished in
black paper
1865.
tap.
Even
So
in
then
the-
we talk about
even
a
in the-
generation.
Abolished, but it was
But
still,
it's
it was
going
still
on.
happening.
So
1928.
Even in the HB
We're in 2019. This is less than 100 years ago.
Right.
And what I'm trying to establish is I'm about growth and getting better. This is the problem. Before we can change and get better, we got to recognize what the problem is. We have to understand we're doing it to ourselves.
Yeah, we're the problem.
This issue is self-perpetuating. We are doing it to ourselves. They were so good, Willie Lynch and everybody else that had something to do with that was so good at their job that we're doing it to ourselves now. So before, I see you shaking your head. Why are you shaking your head?
Because they weren't good at it. Because if they were good at it, we would still be in that situation.
Look what we.
Nah, see.
I don't
see,
think
I
that
disagree.
look, I'm gonna tell, there's people waking up. That's what you don't understand. I feel like we
waking
all
up
know.
now,
I feel
but-
like we all know what it is, but like I know this is gonna be controversial, but like Umar Johnson,
Yeah.
like what he said, there's certain people that we have to cut out to get to where we are going, because there's people who grew up in the whole house slave mentality.
yeah.
So if you grew up in a house slave mentality, a house slave loves their master more than the master loves
That's what I just
themselves.
said. The oppressive
A person who grew up in a house slave situation would do anything for their master without their master telling them, because they love their master so much, because they felt like they could have been in the field with their other peers.
So because
You get what I'm trying to
This
say?
is like the Sam
So it's
Jackson
like-
character in Django. What was his name?
The one Samuel L. Jackson played.
Who that nigga on that nan?
Yeah.
Like,
But
that,
look-
So
that's that
I feel like, and you know, even if you look at like celebrities, even if you're a dark-skinned celebrity brother, the first thing you do is you go and you get you it's either Chinese or you get you a white girl.
Yeah.
Right?
Because that's a
you get you an
status
Asian or
symbol.
you get you a white girl. It's either one of them.
But I think
and those are the two that's
I want to speak to you said this system didn't work because we'd still be there. Who's to say we're not?
we are still there.
We
We
just
are-
have
we
to-
definitely
We're
are
still
still
in.
there.
It's a remix. Any system over time, if it doesn't evolve, it's going to crumble.
Right.
So instead of letting the system crumble, because that system of brutality that was back then, at some point the oppressed rise up in any civilization. They rise up and overtake it. So you have to remix it. And then now we get to 2019, Walmart employs 1,000 bajillion people and all these other companies that we work for. I mean, it's still,
But I heard what you said about the whole school thing, and I even know about college, because, like I said, my brother went to historically black.
HBCU.
Yeah, he went to a historically black college, university, and he was in a fraternity.
right?
And in his fraternity, it's so bad. The light skin versus dark skin is way worse because the light skin, it's like the dark skin men have to prove themselves way more than the light skin, and it's like a whole the initiation phase is my brother went through it. My father, he's a Freemason. So like they were very close when my brother was going through. When my brother was in college, my father and my brother, they became so close because it's a whole, like you have to endure a lot.
The dark skinned dude can take more, so he has to endure more. It still sounds like a lot of reminiscent ties to.
But you're saying the same thing. Like a dark skinned dude can take more than a light skinned dude.
But that's a misconception.
That's
a human being
is tougher and stronger, so he has to go through more bullshit.
Run him over with the car.
That's exactly.
Run him over.
This is the first problem. We have to recognize what we're doing to ourselves. Because everything we're talking about, yes, we had the people who have done it in the past and they did a great job fucking us up. But we cannot continue to blame them. We need to draw land in the sand and we need to get on the same team. I don't care who you are, who the fuck you are. When it comes down to it, somebody going to choose sides, light skin, dark skin, medium skin, fair skin, caramel, whatever it is, to any other race, you are black. So until black people are all black and we respect each other regardless of skin tone, regardless of background, regardless of education, we will go nowhere. Because this is about we will go nowhere. This is the number one problem. Because most people will take their self-elevation over the elevation of the group.
Right.
Because I'm gonna show you a study. Like there was a study they did at Ohio State University I was reading through that corporate America will take a light-skinned male with a bachelor's degree over a dark-skinned male that has a master's degree in BA and work experience in the same motherfucking field. And this is the problem. The person who is elevated will be like, you know what, I gotta do me, I gotta take care of my family, I gotta take care of my shit, so I'm gonna do this. And in turn, you look at others like, okay, so I'm light skin, I'm gonna stick with the light skin. This is the divisiveness that the Willie Lynchkin created. We have to recognize what the fuck is wrong. I'm gonna give you another example. Let's go with social media. Let's go with pop culture. I'm gonna give you a few names and I want y'all to talk on it. And if y'all don't agree with me, y'all don't agree with me, but I see it. I'm gonna go with one of the most popular ones right now, Nicki Minaj.
Yeah.
Look at what Nicki Minaj looks like now.
Yeah.
Look at her transformation into superstar.
Right.
Does she look the same now as she did from
Hell
day one?
no. Because
Why?
she has to fit a certain standard
And
of
we
of,
have
and
right,
this
we
is whole
sell
thing.
out.
This is the whole thing though. This shit started with the whole Marilyn Monroe thing, right? Where they put this woman in front of you and tell you like, this is what a woman's like.
They control the narrative.
So basically, so now, because now it changed a little bit because they realized that us as black people, we have more curves naturally.
Right.
So
Nicki
they
Minaj
still want that refined. So you're not
Guyanese.
flat, but you're
That
not fully.
do. Narrow nose, slim hips, long tan or brown
Can I say
hair.
something about Nicki
Yeah.
Minaj? Nicki Minaj
Yo,
is
this
from.
show you don't have to ask to say
Okay,
jump in.
Nicki
You're not gonna
Minaj.
raise your
Nicki Minaj is Guyanese.
Yes.
Guyanese was overtaken by the Indians.
Yes.
You know, so
So there's
of
a
course,
mix.
Nicki Minaj is gonna, they call them coolie people, like Caribbean people, we call
Right.
them coolie
Coolie,
people. It's like calling a black person, it's offensive to an Indian person. Calling an Indian person coolie is very offensive.
Because they're mixed.
I didn't know that because I grew up calling every Indian person coolie until I got to my job, and I sit next to a real Indian. And he was like, and I was like, yeah, you coolie. No. He's from India.
Okay.
He's from India. And he told me, don't call me. He said, that's offensive. The first day I ever worked at my job, he told me that's offensive.
So he educated you.
He educated me. But I never knew that was offensive because even we call them coolie, like I said, even Indian people, they call themselves coolie in the Caribbean. They even call themselves coolie. But coolie is it's like calling
like nigger.
it's like nigger. It's like a very offensive word.
I don't even say that word because it gives it power. It doesn't bother me to give it power.
But to an Indian, it's a coolie person is a dark-skinned Indian, which in the Caribbean we call, whether you Indian, you have nice long hair, you Indian, whether you light, dark, you coolie. We just call you coolie. So Nicki Minaj comes from that era. And I know in the Guyanese is very bad. You know, Guyanese people is South America. So Guyanese people, you know, Guyanese is connected to Brazil. In Brazil, I don't know if you know, but Brazil has the most black people in the world. They have the most African people in the world. But Brazil
Brazil was the lead slave trader.
Exactly.
A lot of people think it was Great Britain. But Brazil was the leading slave
Portugal
trading
started
country.
it. Brazil was the best at it.
Was the best at it. So basically, Nicki Minaj comes from that era.
So,
you know?
to my point, because we could go on for days about this.
Right.
What I want to say, because the next thing for me, grown man thought, this is what we do. We need to heal. We need to get better. We understand where it came from. We understand how we're doing it to ourselves. We can't, I'm not here to sit here and blame another race for what we continue to do to ourselves. It's self-perpetuating now. We're doing it to ourselves.
I agree.
Right.
Yep.
I want to go through and I'm going to ask each one of you and then we're going to walk this out because we could go back and forth. One, what have we learned and how do we get better? Fuck the other question. How do we get better? I'm gonna start with you, Ajax. What do we gotta do as a people to get better? What do we gotta do as a human race to get better? Because I want to take color out of everything.
Listen, I'm gonna say something, but it's not on one stance. I'm gonna say education, right? I don't mean going to college, getting your bachelor's and your master's. When I say education, I'm talking about knowledge of self. All right, you need to understand where you're coming from. Okay, you need to understand where this problem has started from, and you need to understand that basically you're all the same. Because even the whites have a shade of white, right? You got the whites with the red head and pale as hell. They have divisions amongst themselves. So you have to understand something. Either way, they stick with themselves, right? They don't discriminate between the redhead and a dirty blonde. To them, it's all white. Know what I mean? So we're all gonna stick together. So we need to understand that no matter what shade we are, all right, we're still from the same place.
Okay.
So, all right.
And we grow.
We grow.
Cool. I truly believe that. And I'm gonna wait till I get to my turn. What do you feel? How do we get better? How do we fix this?
I'm gonna piggyback on what he said. Education is key, but I don't mean fake education, because what they teach you in school, they teach you what they want to teach you. But I mean even education, knowing who you are, where you come from, how you relate, because that's all important in knowing how you're gonna relate to other people and understanding who you are.
What do you feel we get better? So this is education, and I totally agree.
Only way we get better, or first step of getting better, is self-love. If you love yourself first, then you're able to love other people. Because if you have that in you, you can't bring that discrimination and hate to other people because you love yourself and you don't carry hate.
True.
You can't. I'm gonna add on both of y'all, all three of y'all points. Education is key. Education of the problem, how do we fix it and where it happened. Self-love is probably the next step in that chain. You have to love who you are to appreciate who you are so you can love others like you. The last piece of that for me, and y'all don't have to agree, but I'm gonna say this, is one, as a people, we need to cut that shit out. People in general.
Point blank period.
I have white friends, brown friends, dark friends, gay friends, friends of different religions.
Right.
We need to stop looking at color. We need to stop looking at sections of what we do for religion or money and just love each other. Self-love means love of a human. At the end of the day, we bleed the same color. We die from the same things. We love the same things. We need to focus on that, and instead of where you came from, what you look like, and your definition of beauty. I'm sorry, I fucked that one up. But your definition of beauty. And we're gonna leave it at that. Grown man thought of the day, love conquers all. I don't care what color, what religion, what race you are. I love you. Bring something valuable to the human race as people. I wanna let my team go out and talk about what they wanna do. Mr. Ryan Hodge.
Hey, come together as people, But one more time, check me out at ryanhodgebooks.com. That's RyanHodge books, BOOKS.com. All right?
Miss Katrina, take them out. What you want to leave this world with today?
Self-love is the best love. Queenie, too humble. The letter 2. The number 2.
Mr. Ajax.
Listen, it's basically simple, man. Live and let live. Peace.
Listen, Grown Man Thoughts on the RG, on the IG. Come follow me, like, subscribe on the YouTube channel, grownmanthoughtsnetwork.com. We will be there. I will respond to every comment. Twitter, @Grown Thoughts, Facebook, Grown Man Thoughts. I'm here to help. I'm here to be the bridge for everybody.
The voice of the people.
The voice, real talk for real people. For real, I'm out. I love y'all. Goodbye.
Peace.
Tell me how to